I'm life and business coach Samantha Sifring, and this is the Online Business Building Mamas podcast, where you learn how to build a wildly successful business from home while raising kids. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the podcast. All right, today we are talking about the first original concept for business that I ever came up with. I'm pretty sure. I'm not totally positive about that, but I'm pretty sure that this is the first tool or concept that I ever created as a business coach. And I still teach it to this day. So I used to teach it to clients way back when in 2018 when I first came up with it. And I still teach it now. I teach it in Mama to CEO. So if you are hearing this episode and this is really resonating with you, Mama to CEO is where you need to go to learn how to put this into practice, to learn how to apply it, implement it, really get strong results. Honestly, if you want to make 5K months in your business, there's no reason to not be in Mama to CEO. And that's just as simple as it is. Our doors are opening next at the beginning of December. So you want to be sure that you put that in your calendar. Okay, so let's talk about the two streams of marketing. So this was completely inspired by my business growth journey when I really started my business. So when I first started, I did all of the things that I saw super successful businesses that were already scaling doing. So at this time, I feel like it was Amy Porterfield or something that I saw where it was courses, Facebook ads, an email list, Instagram. And for some reason, I really got it in my head that the way to succeed on Instagram was posting memes and inspiring quotes. So I posted both memes and inspiring quotes. I had a business Instagram that I started where it only posted those things. And guess what? Basically, no one followed. I also created a website and posted that on my personal Facebook one time with the caption, "I did a thing." And guess what? No one purchased any of those courses that I worked so hard to create. I learned very quickly that the way you scale a business is not the way you grow a business from the very beginning. And this is the whole reason why I have Mama to CEO and Simple Scaling Mastermind, because I have separated out growing a business from the beginning to 5K months and then 100K versus scaling to $1 million. That's the backstory, is that's how I got started. And then here's what I shifted. So I realized, Samantha, you have no people in your audience. And how do you think you're going to get clients with no people in your audience? And I realized I need to go meet people. I need to make people aware of my existence in this world and let them know what I'm doing and that I can help them. And so I started doing that, and they started becoming clients. Not only that, I started growing my audience too. So I got out there, I was meeting people. Some became clients. And by some, I mean maybe 1 out of 300 conversations I was having in the DMs or in the Facebook comments or whatever. This is not I went out one day and filled my practice. So I want that perspective and context, right? And a lot of those people who didn't say yes actually ended up signing up for my Facebook group and following me, signing up for my email list, all the things, right? They became the foundation for my audience. So I took what I learned and I put it into this concept called 2 streams of marketing. And I kind of visualized that there are 2 streams in our marketing. both when we're first starting our business, but I think also just in general. And I'll talk about that a little bit at the end. But I visualized that there's both the way that you want to be building up an audience, nurturing the audience, like wherever you've decided to grow your audience. And I give a lot of guidance on how to decide that inside Mama to CEO, but wherever that place is that you are trying to grow your audience and nurturing them and putting out value and making offers, that's one stream of your marketing. So that is your own audience and the content and the value that you are putting out to your own audience. So I think most of us, when we think about marketing, that is what we think about. We think about giving value to an audience, making offers, and people signing up. And so a lot of you will start doing that and not getting clients, just like me, like I did, and you will think that there is something wrong with your message, your niche, you as a human being, many other things. Like you will try to solve the problem in so many ways, none of which are the real answer. The real answer is there aren't any eyeballs here. And also, especially when you're first starting your business, the content that you're putting out may not be that special. And I don't mean that in like a mean way, but think about how I was saying, like I was putting out memes and quotes. A lot of times at the beginning, the kind of content we put out is very recycled from other people. Like other people's ideas, teachings, talking about books we read, teaching something that we just got coached on yesterday, those types of things, instead of cultivating our own intellectual property, which that is something I teach in Simple Scaling Mastermind because you don't need it until you are scaling to 1 million. So instead of really developing those types of things, we're just kind of like putting out random stuff, seeing what works, and none of it is working, both because it's not that amazing and because there's hardly any eyeballs on it. So the alternative to being like stuck in this terrible purgatory of like my audience is small and my content isn't that good and nothing is working over here is to also have the other stream. So when I teach this, I teach them as fast stream and slow stream. And I don't know that those words are like the best descriptors. Sometimes they really cause a lot of drama for my clients, but I really think that there is value in using those words. So your own audience, I like to call the slow stream. Not that it actually has to be slow, but to set up the expectation that it might be. To set up the expectation that we don't plant a seed and then have fruit coming off a tree the next day, which is how a lot of us approach our marketing. We put value out and an offer out, and then we're like, did anyone book? Did anybody get a call with me? Did anyone sign up? Like minutes later. And then we're depressed because nobody did. So when we call it the slow stream, I do that to set your expectations a little better. So when you are really focused on, like, let's say social media, for instance, when you're really focused, really consistent, really clear, really compelling, all things that I teach in Mama to CEO, when you are nailing that for about 3 to 6 months, that's when you're really going to start seeing rewards from that value that you're putting out there. I think about it as like a scale. Like think about those old-fashioned scales, right? There's one of those old-fashioned scales for every single person out there in your audience. And each time you put out something that is valuable to them, it puts a little more weight on the scale. And every person out there has a weight where the scale will tip and they will reach out and work with you. So it's not one magic post that converts people. It's the compound effect over time. So, slow stream. That's what most people think traditional marketing is. And now I'm giving you all the secrets of getting a business off the ground before you have an audience, before you've built up the 3 to 6 months worth of value on the value scale. Because a lot of people will hear those things and think that it's going to take 3 to 6 months to make any money in their business. They think that they have to build up an audience before they can even sell anything or make offers. And I think this is the most magical thing that I teach to people who are just starting out, that you don't have to wait to make money. You don't have to build an audience first. You don't need a website first. You don't need any of those things. Truly, you can just have conversations and sign clients. So the flip side, the second stream, the fast stream, is where you go to where your ideal clients are and you meet them where they are physically. So that could be online somewhere, that could be in person. And you act like a normal human being, not a sales robot. You build relationships. You talk about what you do. You provide value. You are helpful. And you make invitations for discovery calls or working with you when it is appropriate. So in my example, in my business, I did this in Facebook groups. So I remember hearing about my coach, I think before she was even my coach. I heard her on a podcast interview and actually really didn't like her initially. This is like my MO. By the way, if you don't know this about me, like a lot of times my gut reaction is like, oh, I don't like them. And then I end up loving them and they're my mentor later. I don't know why I do this. I've done it with multiple people. So I did it with her. But the reason why is that I heard her talking about how she used to drive like hours and hours to go to in-person networking events like all the time. And it reminded me so much of when I was in network marketing, and like they would tell those same stories. Like, if you want it bad enough, you'll drive 8 hours to go to a networking event. And it's like, yeah, but I have young kids at home. So like, can I also like want it bad and not do that? So I just didn't resonate with that approach at all. And it also just wasn't realistic. Like, sorry, no, there's no time for me to drive 8 hours to a networking event during preschool hours or nap time or whatever. Like, no, I'm not taking babies to a networking event. Like, no, it's just a no. And I'm sure if I was committed, I could have figured it out, right? But I was not committed to going to a networking event. That in-person networking events are not my thing. Talking to strangers is not my thing at all. So I was not about to do that. But I actually had built up a lot of friendships and community online. So I don't even know how I figured out that Facebook groups exist, but I joined a bunch of Facebook groups. I joined every Facebook group out there, almost. I joined like 80 groups, and that's insane. But as I was joining and checking them out, I discovered that there was about like maybe 3 to 5 that I really enjoyed, where I felt like these were my people, where I noticed that there was like a lot of engagement and a lot of conversation happening, where I noticed there's a lot of people asking questions, especially questions that I could help them with, and groups that just kind of aligned with my interest. So I wasn't trying to be active in 80. I went into 80 to figure out the 3 to 5 that were going to be my hangouts. And then I hung out there like a real human being, a normal human being who was there to make friends, who was there to be a contributing community member, and all the things. And I think some of you even have seen me. I'm still in Facebook groups, not for business anymore. Now I'm in Facebook groups just about interests. And I see some of you in some of the same groups as me. And I'm sure you'll still see that I am active. I comment with helpful advice. often not about business, about a lot of things I'm interested in. I just enjoy that format. I find it a lot easier to get to know strangers and speak up with strangers in a written format. Like, it's not necessarily like super comfortable. It definitely wasn't at the beginning. I found it really scary at the beginning, but I was willing to do it, willing to put myself out there. So that was my equivalent of the driving 8 hours to networking events, right? So I was really helpful. I answered questions. I built relationships, and people were naturally curious about who I was and what I did. And I also talked about it when it was appropriate. I didn't like keep it a secret or anything, but I also wasn't being weird about it. I was just being a normal human being. And I think being a normal human being is like the best thing you could possibly do. So that is how I got so many of my clients in my first year of business. Not the one where I made $40, but the next one, the first money-making year of my business, where I made $42,000. So many of those clients came from the relationships I was building in Facebook groups, doing the fast stream. So Facebook groups are not the only place to do this. You can do this anywhere. So I want you to really expand your mind and think about all the possibilities of where can I meet my ideal clients? Where are they already that I can go? All right, that's 2 streams of marketing, everyone. I hope this has given you food for thought. I feel like this is such a transformational concept. I think for a lot of you listening who have been struggling, this is like the missing piece that is going to really help you move forward in your business. All right, I'll talk to you all on the next episode. If you like this podcast, I want to invite you to coach with me over in my program, Mama to CEO. There's you, and there's the consistent income you want to make in your business, and I help you remove everything standing in between. It's lifetime access for mastering your marketing, sales, time, and everything else you need to have the business and life you really want. Whether it's making your first 1,000 or 100,000, I can help you do it. To join, go to mamatoceo.com, mamatoceo.com.